was elected in 2001 as part of the BC Liberal government, one of the key challenges in BC at the time was, and continues to be, land use conflicts. My team and I came up with the concept of getting everyone from all of the key resource industries in the same room at the same time to talk. We were glad to have our original event organizer, Joanne Uransky, with us in the early days. Without Joanne, we wouldn't have been able to do this.
Well, Pat told me about the plan to launch this new event, and he asked if my team would help. So of course we said absolutely. So in the early days, the forum was 2.5 days of keynote speeches and panel sessions that focused on the best of Northern BC innovation and resource business.
From day one, Rio Tinto Alcan and its government relations director, Richard Prokopenko, were title sponsors of the forum, and without their generous contributions, we wouldn't have been able to continue.
So the idea of an annual forum to share and communicate, bring all kinds of people together from diverse interests of the community, government, and industry made perfect sense, not only to me, but all my colleagues. So Rio Tinto decided to be supportive of the first forum in 2003, way back, and has been one of the many sponsors, along with so many others, ever since.
But as the forum kept growing, the expectations grew with it. My successor, Mike Morris, eventually turned things over to Dan and C3.
We were confident that focusing on great speakers, ensuring that delegates had great accommodation, a stellar venue, great food, and networking opportunities would create a not-to-be-missed annual event. It is so very rewarding to hear delegates, speakers, and sponsors say if they could only attend one conference per year, it would be the BC Natural Resources Forum in Prince George.
When I used to work on the LNG Canada project, every January I knew where I needed to be, at the BC Natural Resources Forum. There really is no better place for people to come together to talk about the most critical issues as it relates to natural resources in our province. Very often we take for granted the natural resources that we can develop here in this province. Very often we've taken for granted how do all people participate in that development. But here today at this forum is where we can talk about that. So congratulations on 20 years, and I certainly expect that the forum will be around for at least another 20 more.
I started coming to the BC Natural Resources Forum in Prince George after I was first elected in 2005 in opposition. And I learned a lot about BC's natural resources from this forum, and most importantly met the people who are involved in the natural resource sector across the spectrum in northern British Columbia. The venue is great, it's comfortable, it's intimate, and you can meet and talk to people in a way that you can never do in your office down in the lower mainland. I was so impressed with the forum as a regular attendee that I impressed upon incoming Premier Horgan that he ought to come up and speak to the forum when he was elected Premier. And he did come up and very much enjoyed the experience as well.
And what I think of most, first and foremost, is the relationship building between local government leaders, between First Nations leaders, between BC cabinet ministers, and senior bureaucrats, and most importantly, between industry leaders as well. And those relationships are really important because as we discuss honestly the risks and benefits of resource extraction, existing and proposed development in BC, you have to have those relationships to have those honest discussions.
Since its inception, the BC Natural Resources Forum has been an important place for our members to connect and share ideas. Our province's future as a responsible supplier of choice, of critical minerals, and other low-carbon natural resources depends on all of us working together. And the BC Natural Resources Forum provides an excellent platform for this to happen.
Our nation is honored each year to host the Premier Natural Resources Forum in our unceded territory in our home community of Prince George. More so now, more than ever, we need to have a conversation about how to support sustainable resource management. And the BCNRF ensures that First Nations will be a key part of that conversation.
The BCNRF had become one of the major annual events in our community. Over 1,000 attendees, every hotel in the city booked solid for 3 to 4 days, restaurants were crowded, and good luck trying to get a cab.
We are thrilled to be back in Prince George on the lands of the Lheidli T'enneh First Nation for the BC Natural Resources Forum. There has always been something about the energy in the Prince George Conference and Civic Centre when we meet in January for the BCNRF. The BC resource sector is critical to BC's economy, and we are pleased to have an event where everyone from government, industry, First Nations, and other stakeholders attend and participate in shaping the sector and the future of BC.
For the natural resource sectors to become truly innovative and sustainable, they need commitment and support from government, First Nations, communities, companies, investors, and regulators. The place to start and sustain those conversations is at the BCNRF.
Our community knows that our future is linked to the responsible resource development in our territory. We are helping our youth, who are the future leaders of our community, revisit the land and learn more about how our ancestors sustained themselves for thousands of years. Part of this journey is to learn about how sustainable resource development can help make us stronger economically, socially, and environmentally.
The BCNRF is now recognized as Western Canada's largest multi-sector resources conference, and it's an event that's a catalyst for positive change and reconciliation. It's really great to be part of the 20th anniversary edition of BCNRF.
We know the event is unique and it's recognized across our Canadian offices as a must attend. We also encourage our partners and colleagues and stakeholders to attend each January if they can.
The theme of this year's forum is how BC is contributing to an innovative, responsible, and respectful global natural resource sector. The forum provides a positive, nonpartisan arena to discuss and learn firsthand the latest news, trends, and opportunities within the key resource sectors in BC and across Canada. Well, C3 has been so proud to play a part in growing the BC Natural Resources Forum with all of you. So cheers to 20 more years for this premier BC event.